And welcome back to another episode of PC 419. MSI have sent us the Optix MAG271CQR, which is a 27-inch panel. It is the gaming monitor. Let's go through some of the features the monitor actually is housing, because what I can see from here, from price point being a FreeSync, looks absolutely fantastic. But let's go through some of the features. It is a curved display with the 1800R, so we're talking about the curve here. And yes, the monitor is RGB. It's got an RGB light at the back of the monitor, which is, obviously everything today is RGB, but it can be controlled by Mystic lighting. It is, we'll go to the resolution. So it's a WQHD resolution, and it still is a VA panel with 144 Hertz. So 144 Hertz works with either the HDMI or display. But if you want FreeSync, you'll have to go with obviously display for the display cable. It is 1 millisecond display as well. Now, it has an on-screen display here, which is the OSD panel here. We'll go through that a bit later on. Now, going to the colors. So it is DCI-P3 90% and also has an sRGB of 115%. Going back to what we were talking about before, AMD FreeSync. So it is an AMD FreeSync panel. So anything, if you've got an AMD graphics card or an NVIDIA graphics card now, you can enable G-Sync or FreeSync software through that using display cable. You can't use the G-Sync with the HDMI. It also has anti-flicking software and a low light blue, so obviously it's less strain in your eyes as well. But also too, it is a frameless design. So now let's look at some of the specs of the monitor. Because for the price point it's got here, it's about $600 Australian. I can see that they've put in a lot of work, AMD, to keep the prices down. There is a few features on here that would obviously incur that, having no G-Sync, and obviously it's got USB pass-through, but they're only USB 2. But it is a 27-inch panel, and the panel resolution is 2560 by 1440. There's 144 refresh rate, as we said before, with a 1 millisecond response rate on the panel. Now, it does have 300 nits of brightness, which is pretty bright, I could say there. Viewing angle is 178 degrees. Also too, the monitor is housing a 16:9 aspect ratio with a contrast ratio of 3001. The surface has been treated with an anti-glare, so it's obviously you won't get so much reflection coming up the actual display itself, which is pretty good, which I tried it here as well, which is good. And also comes with 16.7 million display colors. Going to the ports at the back, it's got one display port, two HDMI 1.4, also has two USB ports, two USB 2.0. I wish this was USB 3, but unfortunately it is USB 2.0, so it's obviously housing just enough for your mouse, standard keyboard, maybe a headset, even some headsets require 3.0, but end of the day, it's still at least a USB pass-through. It does have one audio port for your headphone out, and also has a Kingston lock. Now, this monitor is VESA mounted, so it's 100 by 100 mils, which is actually really good. So if you want to obviously put this up onto a stand, it can be done. And the power type, so the power connection itself is just a standard PC cable, so that's really good. So you have plenty of those cables lying around. If the one that comes with the box isn't long enough, you can get a longer one. You don't have to acquire another power pack or so forth, which is really good. So the adjustment tilts, you've got between 5 degrees and -20, so you can adjust it. You can adjust the monitor back and forward. And then you've got the height, which goes from 0 to 130 mil. The whole thing weighs about 8 kilos all up. It's including everything here. I think it comes with the box as well. But best thing is, let's go look at the on-screen display, do some gaming on it, and let's just see how it goes. So now looking at the on-screen display, as you can see here, MSI have done a really good job just putting up the OSD here, in looking at simplifying the OSD. On top here, it actually shows you your current settings. So we're at 2560 by 1440. We're at 144 Hertz. It's currently in game mode FPS. We have 0 latency on, and display cables plugged in. We'll start with gaming. So game mode is on. It allows you to change from FPS to racing, RTS, and RPG. So obviously when you change those settings, it does change the internal settings in here as well. We'll go back to FPS. You get your black tune as well. So if you want to increase the blackness of the back of the screen, what it does, it actually just lowers the light of the LEDs back here. Either goes higher, right up to 20, or you can bring it back down again. You got your response time, so you got normal and fast. Your 0 latency, which is currently on. Your refresh rate as well. It's got an alarm clock if you'd like. So if you want to set an alarm if you're doing a time trial, or just set an alarm for yourself, you're actually capable of doing that. You got your screen assistance, which actually allows you to put a crosshair in the middle of the screen. And your FreeSync is on as well. So FreeSync is currently plugged in. So we've got display plugged in, which is giving us allowing us FreeSync, and we are running the MSI Duke 2080 on G-Sync. So this monitor is capable of having G-Sync through the FreeSync as well. Then you've got professional, so you've got your Pro mode, which allows you to do Reader, Cinema, and Designer. You've got your Eye Saver, which is your blue light. So if you put that on, it lowers the blue light at the background. Your HDCR as well. And then you've got image enhancement, which is off, weak, medium, strong, and strongest. Going to the image, so you can actually adjust the brightness, the contrast, the sharpness of the screen, color temperature, so if you want to go normal, warm, or customization, and your screen size. You can bring the screen up to 4.3 or 4:3 I should say, or 16:9. Then next you've got your input, so you've got HDMI 1, HDMI 2, and a display port. We're currently plugging the display. And then you've got your Navi key. So your Navi key back here is the joystick, so you can actually customize the joystick how you'd like it. So if you press up, it'll allow you to go to alarm clock, or if you go down, you can actually customize like that, which is pretty good. And then you've got your settings. So you can actually change your language settings for the OSD. You can change the transparency of the OSD as well, so you can make it more transparent or less transparent. You've got your on-screen display timeout, which is currently set to 20 seconds. You can go to 30 seconds if you'd like. And then you've got your RGB LED light at the back, which is, you can turn it off or on, or customize it through the Mystic lighting itself. And then you've got your reset. So if you press the reset button, it will factory reset the whole monitor back to factory. So now time for some gaming. I've got Anthem running here, and we've currently got the CPU at 66 degrees, GPU's running at 76 degrees at 97% load, and we've got 95 frames per second. And having here at 144 Hertz, I've got to say, it actually looks really, really smooth. Even at this viewing angle too, because I'm actually sitting on a bit of a side here. I'm getting no screen tear, flickering. It is running in G-Sync as well. And I've got to say, it looks so fluent. Yeah, this monitor is really good color correction too. So I can see the color correction here looks pretty good here as well. Also, when I'm trying to fire something, so if I'm looking over here up top, they actually look really, really nice. And then moving on here, look at that. Absolutely looks fantastic. Let's try another game. So we'll quit this and we'll try Apex. It allows me to load it up. So as mentioned before, the viewing angle of the MAG271CQR is at 178 degrees, and from this angle as well, obviously looking at it directly on when I was testing the monitor out, it looked great. But even on this angle here, the old VA panels, as soon as you went past to about here, you can still see it, but the glare was just too far over. VA panels have come a long way, and a long way. Since the, well, I can say PG278Q from the Asus. That was pretty good, but if you, like I said, if you went slightly to the side, it did glare out. But on here, it's looking like more of an IPS panel, to be honest. Or IPS technology. Party ready, matchmaking. No, I'm absolutely ridiculous at Apex. I haven't played it much. I've only played probably 3 or 4 games of it. You can see I'm still level 1. So we'll see. All I want to see pretty much is how it actually is working. So we're early in the menu screen. It's showing at 144 FPS. GPU sitting at 69 degrees at 69% load, and the CPU, which is running at 5 GHz overclock, is running at 59 degrees using the ML240R from Cooler Master. So, and watch out for actually look out for that video, because I'll be doing another video on that separately on the ML240R. All right, so still on the drop ship, still running at 101 FPS. CPU is getting at 73, 74 degrees, just jumped up at 80, and GPU is running at 71 degrees. As you can see here, it's the same thing as Anthem. We're getting no screen tearing whatsoever. So G-Sync is running optimal. Still getting about 100 frames per second now. Let's bring it up. I'm not gonna make it. No. All right. So yeah, anyway, going back into it, going into the game, we're sitting at 120 frames per second average, 121, 115, and obviously that's running with G-Sync on. Color saturation looks pretty good as well. I've got to say, compared to everything else, it looks like it's going to be a very good monitor from MSI. And now let's look at the sort of the final thoughts on the monitor itself. So final thoughts of the Optix monitor. Our price range of it obviously is around 600 Australian dollars. It is a good monitor from MSI for the price point and the sort of features you're getting with the actual monitor itself. The only down point I'm going to say is being a VA panel. VA has come a long way, but as you can see from here, it's giving good color saturation and giving a good sRGB color as well. It only has USB 2.0. That's probably the downer for this one. I would prefer the USB 3.0 to give you a better peripheral high-speed bandwidth. Now going to between this monitor at $600 and example the ASUS PG279Q, there is about a $500 difference, but what you are paying for is pretty much G-Sync and IPS. But the MSI does come with 1 millisecond response rate. The PG279Q is a 4 or 5 millisecond response rate. So, but you are paying for IPS, and which is obviously better color, and you are paying for the G-Sync module, which is about a $400 difference. If I had to suggest between the two, I'm gonna say for the price point of this one, the MSI is in front. Even though you're getting USB 2.0 and it is a VA panel, 144 Hertz refresh rate, you're getting FreeSync, which is now compatible with G-Sync, $400 less, I'm definitely gonna recommend this over the ASUS. What are your thoughts on the Optix MAG271CQR? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't joined already, all our social medias and Discord channels, all that will be in the description below, all the URLs. Do join in next time. Let us know what you think of what obviously this video as well. If you like it, dislike it, we'll see in the next one. We'll have to see in the comments below. But guys, thank you for joining in. Thank you MSI for sending the Optix MAG271CQR, and we'll see you in the next one. Millimeters.